And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land. We are a part of the Fanatical Elves Network, a subsidiary of the Fans First Sports Network. I am Ethan Greenberg, and alongside of me is my co-host, Mike Rasinski. Mike,
hello.
How are you doing this evening, sir?
Doing well. Can't complain. This is like a week of Cleveland sports drought. It is every year. Every All-Star break, it seems to be like that. But I don't know. This one always seems to be the worst to me. There's literally, besides spring training going on and maybe talking about the draft when the NBA All-Star game happens, there's like literally no other, at least Cleveland professional sports to talk about.
Yeah, nothing that we would normally talk about. Of course, I mean, if you're into it, and there is a lot of it, the Cleveland Crunch, have been playing, and they're playing really well. They had an exciting game on Saturday. I'm not sure of how the schedule works, but they played like a series of sorts against the team from, I guess, Toronto, and they were all exciting matchups, and they are playing very well. So, and they're, I'm friends with the person who does the play-by-play, Kevin Arnold. He's been on the ongoing nuCLEar before. He does a fantastic job over there. And so the Crunch is doing all right. You've got the Lake Erie Monsters. I haven't had a chance to, or the Cleveland Monsters. I think they were, at one point, I thought they were Lake Erie, but now they're the Cleveland Monsters of the AHL. And I've been kind of following them, but not too closely. So, yeah, it has definitely been a bit of a dry spell around here. Nevertheless, there's always something going on in the news, right?
Absolutely. And, well, you got Kent State as well. In reference to your shirt there, that is an excellent shirt, and they're winning, beating Bowling Green right now, it looks like. So
yeah, they are. They were up at the half, and they need to keep on winning because they've got to, I think, certainly if they can secure that top four for the MAC tournament, that's going to be key. Really, I don't know that they can make it to 3 in the MAC because it's almost a certainty that the Zips are going to be the number 1 seed in the MAC. They are rolling right now, and they are going to be a very difficult bunch to beat. And actually, I'm looking at it right now, and going into tonight's action, I don't know who has the tiebreaker, but Kent State and Ohio U are both 7-5 in conference play. And Toledo is just 8-4 in conference play. So Kent State, in theory, they've got an opportunity to potentially climb up in the standings as the games are only a few left here. And Miami's got 10 conference wins. Akron, I believe I just looked and had 12. But the rest of the way, they do actually, you know what? I was wrong. I didn't realize they've got 5 conference games left after tonight. Miami at home or on the road, which is going to be on CBS Sports Network. That'll be next one on Friday night. That's going to be very difficult. As we know, going on to what is the Malay Hall? It wasn't Millette. It was Malay Hall. That crazy, just crazy down there. And that's just a tough place to play.
Yeah, I remember watching Wally World play down there in our time when I was covering the team.
That was fantastic. The best part was getting to watch them defeat Wally World in Toledo at the convention center. Why did they play at the convention center?
The best thing they ever did was move that to Cleveland and have a real pro atmosphere for the MAC tournament.
Exactly. And kind of funny that we talk now about moving to Cleveland and the arena, because did you see the news today?
I did see that.
We are no longer going to be playing at the Romo Fijo, the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Now it's Rocket Arena.
I like that even better. That's a win.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I always, it's always going to be the gun to us, or the cube. But going to change it over to Rocket Arena. Okay, but yeah, so Kent State's got Miami, then they're home to Toledo, at Akron on the 28th. That's going to be troublesome. That's on ESPN2, and I'm a little concerned about that. At Western Michigan, and then close it out with a home game against Eastern Michigan. Never easy to go up to Kalamazoo.
Here's what I like about this setup we have right now. So obviously Akron broke our hearts last year in the final. You know what? Akron's rolling. Like you said, they're 12-0 in the conference right now. I would love nothing more than for us to break Akron's heart in the tournament at some point, because it could happen. We've seen strangers. We've seen the underdogs in the MAC tournament,
Well, right. I mean, we've seen it happen. We saw it ourselves for our eyes. I mean, when Kent State beat Wally Zerbiak to win the MAC title, Kent State was the underdog. Yep. And so, yeah, anything can happen come conference tournament time. But for right now, they've got to handle business. It looks like they are, through one half, they are doing so at Bowling Green, and, one game at a time, one game at a time. So, yeah, the news there in Cleveland, actually, while the Cavs and the NBA's at the All-Star break, and we're going to get to that here in a moment, the news broke that apparently, and now I don't think anything official, but it looks like the WNBA is going to be returning to Cleveland, with Dan Gilbert being the owner. And that's great. That is really fantastic that Cleveland looks like it's going to have an opportunity to have another WNBA franchise. They were the Cleveland Rockers from 1997 through 2003. And their best record was in 2002, 22-10. And their best finish, from what I could tell, they lost in the conference finals in 2000. I'm excited about that. And it's really great the way the women's game is going.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little surprised when I saw that news too, seeing the other cities that were up to get an expansion team. Like it looks like Cleveland beat out Austin, Charlotte, Denver, Detroit, Houston, who's another WNBA former city, Kansas City, Nashville, Philadelphia, which is a huge city, Milwaukee, St. Louis, and Miami, which also hosted a WNBA team at some point too. So it's really a testament, I think, to what Dan Gilbert has done to really make it a world-class facility. What I heard is the Cavs are getting their new practice facility down by the river, which is supposed to be number one, state of the art. And then the Rockers would move into the Cavs' old facility, which is supposedly also still state of the art. And then they'd obviously be playing at Rocket Arena, which is a just renovated arena as well.
Exactly. Oh, Factor Sadness, you are chiming in more L's in Cleveland. Well, in theory, it could be. You know what? You know what the L is for? Ladies. Ladies in Cleveland. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what it would be. No, I am definitely pumped about that. And it's really, again, as you said, a testament, to what Dan Gilbert's doing and the Cavs organization. Also, just a testament to how the women's game has come along, especially in recent years. The WNBA level of play has come way up, and certainly the exposure from Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese over the past few seasons has elevated things. And Cleveland hosting the Final Four last year, that was amazing. They really, really put on an amazing show. And the other day, I don't know if you saw, Connecticut went into South Carolina and broke their home winning streak, which was like at 70 or 71, and they put a beat down on them. Nice. And it's, I mean, Connecticut, you thought about it, 15, 20 years ago, you couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
You for year after year after year, Gino Auriemma puts out winners for the Huskies. And so now other teams, the past couple of years, South Carolina has been crazy good. LSU, had a heck of a run and a national championship. And Iowa fell short a couple times. But just the women's game of basketball has certainly gotten a lot more recognition and a better following. And, I know that some people, maybe it's not their cup of tea, but calling women's basketball, even at, college Division III level, you can see that there are players with a lot of skills. And in fact, I think the fact that the women's game doesn't rely on dunking and so on and so forth, it requires a little bit higher level of skill sometimes, or more fundamentals even. And believe me, they do more than fundamentals.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, and you know what? Totally agree with everything you just said. But bring up another point too, is that, you know, when we had Tim Alcorn on a few weeks ago, he said he was like the only person he knew that went from broadcasting high school games straight to the NBA. So could you be the next person that goes from broadcasting D3 games straight to the WNBA?
Well, you know, that's my goal. That is my goal right there. I will also be the janitor if that's what it takes. That I will do whatever it takes. I'm thinking of starting a online campaign, or you know, I don't know. I got to come up with a hashtag. Maybe I need to wear some shirts, get everybody wear, you know, and we really need to get some energy behind it, because I would love nothing more than to transfer the skills and the enjoyment I have for broadcasting and doing women's basketball. And you know, it's not a second class, you know, sport. It's, you know, it's top of the notch. These players are amazing, and they deserve just as, you know, they deserve just as good a coverage as anything else. And
Agreed.
I would love nothing more than to support Cleveland, you know, where my heart is, and be the voice of the Rockers. Nothing could be greater in my mind than to have a chance to do that. And if, like I said, if that meant me cleaning out the toilets, you know, I might have to do that too. Whatever it takes, quite frankly.
Yeah,
So,
well, maybe we'll have to designate a section in the show to Rockers basketball or WNBA basketball.
I think we should.
Absolutely. Going forward. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, Angel Reese builds houses too with bricks. Well, you know, brick houses are very strong. I mean, and the Three Little Pigs, that was, you know, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, the All-Star break. It was, it was something. I watched because of the Cavs that were participating. I didn't watch on Friday night, maybe for a few minutes of the G League, the Rising Stars, because they played a mini tournament, and to see who was going to advance on to Sunday night. I watched a little bit of it, but definitely Saturday night, I was curious to watch the skills challenge with Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. And I wanted to see the 3-point contest with Darius Garland. And, you know, since I was already watching, might as well watch the dunk contest. I could not care less about the halftime or the entertainment portion of it. That means nothing to me. But it's not great. The best action, the best stuff that was going on Saturday night was Team USA and Team Canada in the nations face-off, having 3 fights in 9 seconds.
Now, can you explain this to me? So, what is going on in hockey right now?
All right. So what's going on, Mike, is rather than do their traditional All-Star weekend and All-Star game, from what I read, because the Winter Olympics are coming up in 2026, and the NHL players will once again be able to participate, they did this event as opposed to a traditional All-Star break. So they did a round-robin tournament, and actually now the championship will be Team USA and Canada on Thursday night. The game will be played, I believe, in Boston. And, you know.
So is it all-stars from like Team USA, Team Canada, or do they still announce an all-star team and then they just form their own?
No, I think that I do not believe they necessarily named all-stars. So but I don't want to be misquoted on that because I hadn't paid close enough attention, sadly, or to be quite candid. But these are, you know, obviously the best of the best. I don't think that I believe you have 4 teams, right? So I don't know if all of these players would have been necessarily all-stars if you did it in another format, because you've got them evenly, you know, you've got squads from Canada, the U.S., what was it, Finland, and maybe Sweden, but I got to look here because I can't remember in the round robin here. Yeah, Sweden was in it, and let's see, who did Canada beat? They beat Finland. So Finland, Sweden, Canada, and the U.S. And so the energy behind this, that was the best thing going on Saturday night, quite frankly.
Yeah, so, the reason I asked that is, look, should the NBA go to that format? Because obviously they're trying different things right now because last year's All-Star game was atrocious. I watched 0% of the All-Star game this weekend, and I don't regret it at all. And so they're trying to get more interest. So should they switch to a format where hockey actually won the narrative this weekend over the NBA, which rarely happens? There's 125 international players on NBA in the NBA right now. So you could easily form a USA versus the world, or city up with countries, or however you want to do it. There are ways to, I guess, make that happen.
Right. No, I completely agree with you. They've got to do something. The issue is, and I've heard this, and he's spot on. I was listening to Gerard Cherry, and one of the things he talked about is that, the money isn't the thing for them, and so they don't need it. They have plenty of it. So I mean, what's the motivation to perform in the All-Star game? It's lost all its luster. And it's also kind of part of the change in the culture. Think about all these kids and all these players now. They may have played together in like AAU when they were teenagers. They all know each other. They're all buddies. There's very few people there. There's a lot of animosity. Whereas back in, when we were growing up watching basketball, man, there was some fierce rivals. And I don't know if you could put certain players in the same room and there might not be a fight. But it was awful. It was they had to try something, because clearly the guy's not trying hard led to this, because they're scoring 200 points in a freaking game and nobody's playing any defense, and it means absolutely nothing. Nobody acts like they actually want to be there and actually care.
I said this last week and I still stand behind it. I think you should name the All-Stars and be done with it. You don't have to have a game. Maybe take a week off so the players can have like a midseason break. And that's it. Like, it's probably, I wonder if it costs the NBA more to put this thing on than, money they even get back from this thing. So really, what are they going to lose by naming All-Stars and just,
Oh, yeah. Television rights and everything. I hear what you're saying, and I'm actually in that same camp with you. It's kind of along the lines of the garbage with the Pro Bowl in the NFL, and I'm glad they got rid of the game, especially, now the injuries is a lot more of a potential issue in football than it necessarily would be with the basketball. But at the same time, if these guys aren't going to play hard, if they're not going to play defense, then, it's not good. Now, did you see the craziness of the weekend? So first of all, you got Draymond Green mouthing off, okay, Mr. Donkey himself, right, coming out on the TNT set pregame, and he's all pissed off about the group of quote unquote the rising stars. They won their tournament on Friday, and these are guys who play in the league. They're just like rookies. It's like Zach Edey, to name one that you might actually know who they are. And they're playing in this 14 tournament. Well, they got their butts kicked. Great. Okay, as they should. What was his quotes? I had to work so hard. To play on Sunday night of All-Star Weekend. And because ratings are down, because the game's bad, we're bringing in rising stars. That's not a fix. You work all year to be an all-star, and you get to play up to 40, and then you're done? This is so unfair to Victor Wembanyama, who just took this game really seriously. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just took this game really seriously. When you talk about chasing after the points record, Melo, Kobe, and all these guys that had great scoring nights, they don't get the opportunity to do that with this game. Well, first of all, you jackalope. Maybe if you and your compadres had tried a little harder, the NBA wouldn't have had to fix it, because no one wants to watch no defensive guys running up and down the court and doing nothing. That's a glorified practice. Give me a break. It's not even a practice. I've seen guys play harder at practice. Screw you, Draymond. You don't like it. Maybe talk to your fellow players and do something about it, okay? Nobody cares about your stupid scoring points record in the stupid All-Star game. Shove it. Shove it. Nobody cares.
Did we go going nuclear early today?
We might have.
I love it. Draymond's just trying to stay relevant. Nobody cares about him. He's trying to mouth off and get media attention because he's a B player now. B minus player.
And speaking of a B minus player, Draymond is a moron. Well, first of all, Heather, thank you for tuning in. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. The score, they had to stop the scoring me 277 to 259. Exactly. No, you're point on. Your point on, Heather. Exactly. So Draymond, though, did give us the highlight of the weekend. He gave us the highlight of the weekend. Oh, fact, they're all B players. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Kind of, sort of now. I don't know about that. So did you catch the highlights?
No, I read about it, but that's it. I didn't.
Okay.
I was disinterested. I didn't even watch the highlights.
Wow, that's not even of the skills challenge or the dunks.
No. Nope.
All right. So first of all, this was what was going crazy on on Saturday. First, you have the skills challenge, and so it's Team Spurs, the Cavs, like the rookies, which was the two Frenchies. It was Risache and Sar from the Wizards, and then the Cavs, right? Well, the Spurs go first. Oh, wily veteran Chris Paul and Wembanyama go out there. So you have to do the thing with the bounce pass. You got to hit 3 bounce passes. Then you run up, and then you got to do a chest pass. And then you got to run up, and you have to shoot 3. You have 3 shots at the basket from a 3-pointer. If you make it, you move on, or when you make it. But if nothing else, you shoot all 3 shots. So these clowns come up with a strategy and a loophole. They just literally start picking up the balls and chucking them aside, and then they go to the free throw line and do the same. And then there's a shot from the corner, and they do the same. And then they run back to the pass, whatever. Then they come down, and I think they did shoot the layup. I don't know, whatever they did. Well, they thought there was some kind of a loophole that they could use to actually not try and shoot the ball, but literally just to chuck the ball. They got disqualified.
I love it.
Yes, I do too. I do too. And then, the Cavs, they didn't have a great first round. It was a little bit off. Mobley was a little bit shaky, but they got in there. They get to the finals against the Warriors, and they had a much better second round, set the pace, and then the Warriors come out. It's Draymond and Moody.
Okay.
And Moody does pretty well. Draymond goes out there, and he gets to the bounce passes. He gets to the chest pass, and he starts bricking the chest pass. He could not get it through. And he choked. It was beautiful. It was glorious.
No wonder he was so pissed then. He embarrassed himself in front of his home fans.
Exactly. He's a big donkey. He really is. So I was not too upset that Draymond pooped the bed and then
So you're telling me the Cavs went into San Francisco and beat the Warriors yet again to win a trophy?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Awesome. I'm going to have to go watch these highlights now.
Yeah.
Now I want to watch them.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So you get a winner there between Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. Then in the 3-point contest, Garland looked good in the first round. So there's 8 shooters. Garland goes for 24 in the first round, and he looked good. He really did. And he qualifies. The top 3 qualify. So he makes it through to the finals between the 3 players. Hero, Buddy Hield, and he's the hometown favorite there. And then Garland in that second, in the finals, Garland just didn't have as good a round, only scored 19, and Hero, he was nailing them. He hit his shots and he won it, beat Buddy Hield. So I'm kind of glad that Tyler Hero won, even though I don't like him, but rather than Buddy Hield, because it would have been a hometown win. And so I'm just spiteful.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's part of being a Cleveland fan is being spiteful. So
yes,
nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. And the dunk contest now. So they only had 4 participants.
Okay.
Mac McClung, who's not even on an NBA roster. He's in the G League, going for a three-peat.
Okay.
You got Castle, Stefan Castle from San Antonio, a dude from Milwaukee who I've never heard of, and a dude from the Bulls who I've never heard of. In fact, I've barely heard of the guy from San Antonio. Really, the best person I know, or the only person I really knew, was Mac McClung. And, Mac McClung, he tries. That's the key. He tries. I think what they do is, some of these guys do is rather impressive. It's not easy by any means, but that guy, I think I saw a post that said he's made more in earnings from the dunk contest than he has in his actual basketball career.
So that's a guy where this money actually means something, as opposed to whoever wins the tournament.
Exactly. So this guy busts his butt. But what's crazy is this. Can you believe that they have dunking coaches?
So Max McClung has a dunk coach?
Mac McClung has a dunk coach. 3 of them, at least they all do, I think, that help them figure out and choreograph these things.
How do you become a dunk coach?
I have no idea.
Dunk coach, was it like who is qualified to be his dunk coach? Is that
what's kind of funny? He's some middle-aged white guy.
Okay. Can we figure out how to have him on the show? I have so many questions that I want to ask him.
I'm going to look it up. I think this is something I want to look at. Was LeBron in the dunk? No, he never got in the dunk contest. And Factory Sadness, if you listen to my other podcast, the best doggone podcast in the land, we talked about, Heather and I talked about the fact that LeBron had said at some point he did not want to participate because he does more in-game dunking and it's more spur of the moment as opposed to planned out. I think that's a bit of a cop-out, but it is what it is. Certainly, there were a ton of nobody else is in this dunk contest who's even in their prime.
So when did that change? When did we go from the NBA All-Stars, wanting to show off, to now we have G Leaguers in the dunk contest? Like, when did that change and why?
I'm really not sure. I don't know when players just were gave up and it doesn't make any sense to me why they wouldn't want that crown. Sure, you're not liking LeBron's story there. Okay, well, I understand that. And the you used to see even guys like Blake Griffin. He wasn't a dunker, but he participated in the dunk contest. Now he jumped over the hood of a Kia.
Yeah.
Long, jumped over the top of the freaking car. Now, what was the best moment of the dunk contest is one of Mac McClung's dunks. There's a guy spinning around on a hoverboard, the 2-wheel deal. So he's rotating around, and there's another guy on a ladder, and he's holding the ball up. So Mac McClung goes, he jumps up, grabs the ball from the guy on the hoverboard, dunks it, takes with his right hand, takes his left hand and dunks the ball that's on the guy's holding from the top of the ladder. So I said, I tell Emily, I tell my wife, I say, oh, you got to look at this, check this out. And she's like, what did he do? It's like his other hand is out there. It's not going to do anything. She's like, he just went boop. And she made fun of the guy's dunk. And I'm dying laughing because this is the funniest take I've heard. I'm just I thought it was pretty creative and kind of an amazing feat. And she's making fun of it.
Do you think the dunk coach came up with that idea?
I think he went to the Dunk Kings. You should have called the Dunk Kings, at Dunkin' Donuts. And yeah, and there it is, Heather. It matters more to the G League guys. It's like college. And as Factory of Sadness is about the players and what they do, because they love the money, not the game. And to that point, if they don't, are we over the dunk contest? Let me just ask this, your opinion. And obviously you are, because you didn't even watch.
Well, I think the players are too. If they're not going to participate, if the big name guys aren't going to participate, it shows to me that they don't care about it. They don't care about the prestige. It used to be prestigious, must-see TV.
It was. It used
not
to be
anymore.
on a Saturday after. Do you remember? It used to be on like a Saturday afternoon. Even I think those ones that Jordan was winning back in the day were on Saturday afternoon.
So why do you have bigger name players doing the 3-point contest but not the dunk contest? Is it easy because it's easier? I mean, both
I don't know. I guess technically speaking, if you're doing the 3-point contest and you're making shots, there's a level of skill there, right? Of actual skill. Dunking, you could do some cool things, but it doesn't necessarily show, hey, you're a good basketball player, you're a bad basketball player. So maybe to that, I'm just guessing. I'm throwing out some stuff here. Now, the one other thing that I wanted to talk about with the All-Star weekend is this. So on Sunday, shortly before the All-Star game, LeBron comes out and says he is not going to be playing. Yes, because they're not getting judged. Good point, Heather. So the 3-point, they're not getting judged. And as she said, their widow feelings would get hurt if they didn't win.
That's probably right.
Whoa, pulling no punches here. Pulling no punches, Heather. I love it. And so then because it's not bad, it's throw up the ball from half court ball. Well, you're not wrong, Factory of Sadness, to an extent. I think in games look, hitting a shot from as far away as they can shoot, that they do it at a pretty darn high percentage, to be quite frank. So it's not like they're doing something that's just a trick shot. But the thing that was the big news was Sunday evening, LeBron comes out and says, I'm not playing because of his ankle, lingering issues with his ankle and foot. And so there's a couple of questions. One is for you, Mike, was it foul for him to not bow out sooner, such that possibly they could have had a replacement? And keeping in mind that I do know that possibly due to maybe an illness, Anthony Edwards at the last minute did not participate either. So was it maybe more for LeBron than Anthony Edwards? But how much of a foul is it that he didn't participate?
Yeah, well, I guess it all depends on when he knew he wasn't going to. So if he had the opportunity to give somebody else a chance to play in the game and be recognized as an all-star, as a 20-plus year vet, I think he would realize and recognize the prestige that comes with that. So I hope that it just, it happened last minute, or he thought it was going to be better and it wasn't until the last minute that he realized he couldn't play, wasn't going to risk injury. And, those were just the circumstances. However,
you hope that.
Yeah.
You hope that.
I think it is a foul, though, if he knew days before that he wasn't going to play because
somebody else could have gotten an all-star nod, even though, I mean, the whole idea, the whole thing of like basically you're an alternate to the alternate to the alternate to the alternate. I don't know how much it really means, although I don't know if there are contract incentives to being named as an all-star.
Yeah.
But somebody brought up something, and I wondered, was he making kind of like, Draymond's complaining, was LeBron making a statement to the NBA like, what is this BS that we're putting out here? And again, I blame him. I say, well, hey, if you don't like it, I don't know, maybe get your friends to play a little bit harder.
Yeah, maybe he should have pulled a Tristan Thompson and dunked in the last 6 seconds of the game and left by 20 points.
Yep. So now here we go. So LeBron doesn't care. It's about him and always be about him in his eyes. All right. So we got a LeBron hater here.
Yeah, apparently.
and didn't care, didn't even bother to dress up for the photos, and at least do that and not stick out. Well, I don't know. I mean, I hear you. That I can. I'm like,
Yeah.
but the point being, like,
what is he's been in 20, 21 straight All-Star games. I'm sure it's lost his appeal and it's not special to him anymore.
Right. There are young guys who it is special to, like Evan Mobley, his first All-Star game.
Yeah.
And other guys that are younger and up and coming, but also you got to remember there's a fan vote that's part of it. They get nominated by the starters are nominated by the fans.
Yeah.
So
now, and I mean, LeBron's play deserved it too. Like, so he didn't just sneak in by name recognition. He's got the stats this year.
He absolutely does. I mean, I know that Factory of Sadness hates LeBron and thinks he's terrible when you compare him to Michael Jordan. But there's different levels and ways to measure the players. The fact that LeBron is now 40 years old and playing as well as he is and putting up the numbers he's putting up, it's fantastic. You're right. There is no comparison. Michael Jordan pooped the bed after he decided to go play baseball because he was about to get in trouble for gambling, and he left the game of basketball. And he comes back, he wins a few championships, great. He retires again like a big wuss, and then comes play and plays for the Washington crappy-ass Wizards. And he sucked. He sucked.
Didn't win anything with them. LeBron's won everywhere he's went.
Exactly. Oh, you know who the GOAT is then if we're going to talk about titles? It must be Bill Russell. It's Bill Russell, right? He won 10, 11. Bill Russell's the best. Screw Michael Jordan. I'm sick of his sorry ass. Go to hell. Go to hell, Michael.
We're on Going Nuclear Part 2 already. We're only halfway in.
Exactly. Michael Jordan can kiss my butt. He could take his gambling sorry ass out of there. You know, he was a pompous ass when he's talking on The Last Dance. Shove it.
I love it.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Hey, why don't you put LeBron James? Who did he drag to the finals in 2007? Delonte West? You got some, which other losers did he drag to the finals in 2007? Boobie Gibson. Nah, man. You're a chump, and you should have to revoke your right as a Cavs fan for having gone to the parade and shut up. That's what it is. You can't. Who can't? It's a team game.
Yeah. 4 wins too, by the way. 4.
Oh, thank you. Good call. Appreciate it. No. You're right, because it's a team game. Thank you. You just proved my point.
Well, I mean, so did Jordan. Look who his surrounding cast was.
Yep. Another Hall of Famer, Scottie Pippen. Which other Hall of Famer? Kukoc wasn't, well, he came later. Rodman.
Yep.
Rodman was a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Oh, what is it? Burn your house down and you still. No, I think I'd be pretty mad if he burnt my house down.
I'm trying to what incentive would he have to burn down your house too? That'd be.
I don't know.
That'd be a great story though.
It would be. Okay, who cares? He left us. Oh, so here's the real story. Now we get to it. He left us twice. All right, I will agree. The first time around was effed up in the way he did it. I don't blame him for going on because he wasn't winning here, and I don't blame him. It was the way he did it, right? And leaving the second time, he went out there for business reasons, for family reasons. His kids playing basketball there. He made a personal choice, and that's okay. But he came back here and took us to 4 straight finals. If Kevin Durant isn't a chump too and go ring chasing, and Kelly Olynyk doesn't rip Kevin Love's shoulder out, Cavs probably win 2 or 3 titles. So I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Well, you know what? He actually didn't need a super team to win in LA. It was him and Anthony Davis. Granted, it was in the bubble, but there ain't no super team over there. That ain't no super team. Well, I will agree. Durant is a chump.
Yeah, there's something we can all agree on.
Yeah, we can definitely agree on that. Okay. They're all super team chasers. Actually, and so the NBA has kind of fixed that.
With these aprons and yeah.
So anyway, so I digress there. And with that, let's take a quick time out to thank our sponsors. You are tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land. And welcome back, everybody. Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land. Ethan Greenberg here. Alongside of me is Mike Rasinski. We are resuming. I have just had a meltdown over LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
Your second meltdown of the day.
Now, oh, wait a second. Here we go. Here it is. It's all rigged. Sports are rigged. Mike, I'm losing it.
You don't have to pop up all of those comments.
Well, it's good for commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I think Factory of Sadness, he's at least watching the sports, or else he wouldn't be commenting.
I think you're right there. I think right. Now I'm gonna have to disagree. I know that some people like to cry and say things are rigged and there's money. Prove it. Actually give me a document that shows the connection where someone said, I am going to cheat. Chicago Black Sox. Show me something other than your allegations and hypotheses. So until you actually show me the documents, don't lie and say, follow the money. No, it's not follow the money. Actually show me where someone made an agreement. I am going to shave points. I am going to miss this shot. I mean, when they do that, then I'll follow the money. Vegas never lies. Well, Vegas wasn't always,
Should we follow the money to a team people say never spends enough money? And
we should. I think that's a great segue there, Mike. Thank you for saving my own stupidity. All right, that's it. We're going to go for the land. We've let them know. I let everybody know what I thought. Now we are going to say this one is for the land. Mike?
That's right. It's a team that people say the Dolans are cheap and they don't spend enough money, but they always make the savvy moves, and they've been a competitor for the last decade plus, and they are so fun to watch. So I am excited that spring training is happening. It's happening now. We've got all these minor moves that the guards are making, but I think they're going to make a big difference when the season starts.
Yes, absolutely. Saturday afternoon, the Gardos start spring training with a face-off against Tito.
Yeah, what a way to start off spring training.
I know. That is a heck of a way to start off spring training. So let me ask you this, Mike, because I am, I used to always listen to the radio and hear in the Cactus League, hear the things about spring training. Always a L for the land. Yeah. No. What can you really take away from spring training?
I don't think you can take away much at all, to tell you the truth, about how you think the season's going to go. It is more just a tune-up. It is a way that some of the younger guys can prove themselves and can, even if they don't make the team out of spring training, I think the coaches, they get a look at them, and these are the guys that will be called up first if there ever is a need. Trying to think of the young guys last year. I think Christmas was, yes, Smith, they all impressed. They weren't guaranteed roster spots, but because of their spring training, they made it. So it's fun to take a look at the young guys and see how they do. The veterans, it's just a tune-up for them.
Right. So we really need to avoid them getting injured. So basically it's get your work in, but stop getting injured. I have got to find out and see if we can figure out the correlation between the rash of injuries and types of injuries that players are suffering now that maybe they once didn't, suffer back in the day. I mean, what is the deal with in all sports with soft tissue injuries? What is is the whole thing with everybody needing Tommy John surgery because they're throwing too hard at too young of an age? Are they, is it that they're trying to put too much torque and spin? What are they doing? I mean, somehow we have all this sports science and nobody can manage to figure out how to keep these guys healthy.
Yeah. I wonder too, if it's just, back in the day, even before our time, professional sports were still just seasonal sports where your body would get a rest when it wasn't in season to play. Players would have second jobs just to, make it through. And now it's an all year round type of thing. And maybe it's just too much stress on the body with like the high level of activity that they're actually doing.
Yeah, and you think, and I know that they talk about this with various athletes and stuff, that they've got people that are tracking them to know, like, okay, what's their recovery rate? What's this? And they've got, is amazing, the science that they've got going on. But I cannot believe, with all of that science, that these guys are still suffering these types of injuries. Like, don't you need to, do you need to stretch more? I mean, what's the deal? I mean, look at Babe Ruth. That guy was like not exactly a specimen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I think pitching though is a different. That's just an unnatural motion for your arm. That wasn't designed to do that repetitively, and at that velocity and at that twisting motion too, with all the spin on the balls. Now we're batting. I don't know. I guess don't just hurt your oblique muscle and you'll be fine.
Right. He was a batter too. I mean, he was a pitcher too, Babe Ruth.
He was, but not for his entire career.
No. What if they're all they're all soft. Yes. No, it's crazy. What if baseball pitchers started using the same motion that softball pitchers use?
Can you throw a baseball that hard? Like a softball, they get it up there in the 90s too.
Yeah.
Can a baseball also be thrown that hard underhand?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm real curious. So if we know any softball experts out there, or baseball experts that could, speak on this, I would love to know, is that something that's even possible? Are there any rules against it?
It's like the ephus pitch, but backwards, I guess.
Yes. I love the ephus. The ephus. Maybe get a Texas League single, a little.
Yeah. It'd be like shooting free throws underhand, because statistically that is the most accurate way to shoot a free throw, but nobody will do it because you look dumb. And I think people would think they look dumb throwing a baseball underhand.
Hey man, if it kept your career going, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot. I mean, those girls and the softball. I mean, I'm watching college softball, the way they can pitch and pitch and pitch and pitch. It's a lot.
It's impressive. My other question, I don't know this, is the mound for softball the same distance as for baseball?
I think it's closer. I think it's a smaller diamond. I do believe it is. It's closer to smaller diamond. So I understand. So there's, in theory, though, I'd be curious. Mm-hmm. I really would. It's kind of like in golf. Can you Happy Gilmore it?
Yeah.
Can you Happy Gilmore it? Speaking of Happy Gilmore, as you were not watching the All-Star game this weekend on Sunday night, it was a second-class citizen for me. I had it on my iPhone on my lap, because I was watching the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary. Did you catch any of that?
No, I did not catch that either.
Mike, what were you doing?
Probably sleeping, to tell you the truth. Probably sleeping.
Well, that might have been a good idea, but
yeah,
sleep. What's that? That's for people.
Tomorrow equals problem.
That's for people who are soft.
There you go.
No, but I wonder what the ratings are going to be for the All-Star game. It was just bad timing. It's a bad product, and then you put it up against an event like the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary thing, which was actually pretty good. Stars.
Maybe I'll watch those highlights before I watch the NBA All-Star highlights.
I think you should.
I did see a stat that said, now we're back on it, of the 2.5-hour broadcast, only 30 minutes of basketball was actually played.
Oh, and that was another major problem. They kept having all these stupid commercials then, and I forget who was yelling about Kevin Hart. I think it was Emmett Golden on ESPN Cleveland was like, man, Kevin Hart, he was ripping him. He was like, he said like one funny line, and he was going off. It was great.
I did read, didn't they have some tribute to like the TNT cast, Chuck and, but they're not going anywhere. They're still broadcasting. So
they're going to be like not on, I guess they're not going to be on TNT because, as you know, the rights got sold. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, but they're still going to broadcast for like ESPN or whoever bought them, right? So who cares?
Yeah, I look, It's a terrible product. It was a terrible product, and they should be ashamed. We are all dumber for having watched it. Well, at least I am. You aren't because you did not watch it, but I am dumber for having watched that. So what do you think about the free agent signings? You talked about the minor moves for the Guardians in recent weeks. What do you think about those moves,
Oh,
Jake?
I love them. So, like, I think you wrote these down. Like, we have Jacob Junis, the pitcher, who actually has some great stats. You did the research on this, but last year, 4-0, 2.69 ERA. Can be a starter or a reliever. It looks like the Guards are going to use him in the relief role. We have, we just signed lefty John Means from Baltimore, who's actually coming off a surgery, so we won't have him till the middle of the season. But that, I mean, what a low risk move that is.
Exactly. If he can even come out and do anything, it's a middle of the season, middle toward the stretch run. If he can get back in and do something, that's great. And also think about the fact Shane Bieber is like late June, early July, potentially. How much of a boost that could be. And quite frankly, the Guardians are not getting much love.
No, I've seen another, was the ESPN that predicted them to finish 4th in the AL Central, not just 3rd. Like, I can't believe it, to say the truth. I mean, these other teams didn't get this much better, and I don't think we got that much worse, even though, we lost the second baseman and first baseman. They have a plan. It's not like they just dumped them. There is a plan to replace them.
Well, we really didn't lose much. The guys we lost in pitching came in at the end of the year. They weren't long-term solutions, right? Cobb, Boyd, whatever. No big deal.
And they won before we had them too.
Right, exactly. And Naylor, okay, I'm not so concerned about that. I think with more at-bats between Santana and Manzardo, we'll be all right there. Yeah, we lose a little bit defensively at second base, but I think it's really going to be okay.
Because he wasn't doing much offensively anyways last year.
No, he had dropped off a cliff.
So he could potentially, we could actually have a better offensive season from second base this year.
Yeah, definitely. And if we can get any, like we talked about last week, any kind of consistency out of right field.
Yeah.
And
then what I like too is all the rookies that got experience last year too. That can only help them this year. I know there's a lot of talk about the sophomore slump, but in baseball, that's less of a factor than you see it in other sports too. So I love that all the experience our guys got last year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Again, we talked about this. It's going to be about keeping the arms fresh and not having that burnout like we did. Because, look, I don't know that Minnesota got better. I know Kansas City was very strong. They were also in the playoffs. The Tigers, they may have made a couple of nice moves, but, and they're going to be good. So we know the White Sox are going to stink.
Yeah.
So then we're saying, okay, so you've got Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota. Minnesota flamed out last year, and I don't think they've done squat.
And then Kansas City, they only stayed in it because they had good starting pitching, which they have again this year, but their offense was nothing to write home about last year.
They've got some scary offense, though.
Well, they had Witt.
Right.
And Salvador Perez.
Yes.
And that's about it. They had the one other guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, who broke his hand in playoff time. But that's all they have. Nobody else did anything for that team. Offensively.
Yeah. So they've got some very good pitching. I think it's anybody's ball game. It really is. So the Guardians, we'll see. I'm excited for baseball. Can't wait for that. Again, I've got to look into that package to get the Guards TV and stuff, because I definitely want to be having that as an option of something to watch. So I know this is kind of sort of off, not exactly Browns related, but I thought it would be interesting and wanted your insight on it. Have you seen all the stuff about Justin Tucker?
Yes, that I have seen.
Okay. All these accusations are flying. Oh, and then one of their offensive linemen got pulled over for a DUI. within the past, I guess, 24 hours. So they're all is well. All is well. So here's my question. It seems like Justin Tucker is kind of pulling a Deshaun Watson. But I don't see the same level of scrutiny. Is that because he's not a quarterback? Is it because it is not Cleveland? Any theories on this?
Well, my number one theory is we'll probably trade 2 to 3 first-round picks to now get Justin Tucker. So that's just, he's a good kicker, and that's what we do.
Right. No, I like that. That's a good idea to start with.
Yeah. I wonder. I think it's because it's the off season, and he's not involved in some type of mega deal.
Right.
Probably a little bit because he's not a quarterback too, but he is the most well-known kicker in the league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what really I think lofted the Deshaun Watson spectacle is that he got the highest guaranteed contract ever in the NFL for a guy that was facing all of these allegations.
Right.
And that really pissed off a lot of people. Justin Tucker, like what he did, it is very similar to Deshaun's allegations, but he's not forcing his way out of Baltimore that we know. He's not signing some ridiculous contract that's really going to piss people off. So I think that's the main difference.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I'm just wondering because I feel like guys like Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk, they love crapping on the Browns. They love crapping on Cleveland. The national radio craps on Cleveland like no other. And Factory Sadness is kind of right. When it comes to sports talk, there's only L's in Cleveland. We love taking the L when it comes to the national media. Anytime there's an opportunity to take a big, giant Brown on the Browns, they do it. And I don't blame them because obviously the move they made for, Deshaun Watson was unprecedented and ridiculous. It was a all-in move that was ill-conceived. I mean, it's trying to win, and at the same time, like, where's the scrutiny for like Ray Lewis? He's like a hero.
Yeah.
Where's the scrutiny to him?
That blows my mind too, because he actually he killed a guy.
Yeah, and he got off. No, now he's like this hero. They do his dance, they do the whole thing, and all this nonsense. And I'm like, why? Why is it that this jackalope gets it? Why is Ben Roethlisberger? Why doesn't anybody talk about Ben Roethlisberger? What is this?
Well, for him, I think it's didn't he like apologize and say, go through some like, I don't know, some type of classes to make himself better. And people love a redemption story. Deshaun's never apologized or said he's done anything wrong.
Yeah, and I don't know that Justin Tucker is going to say he's already deny. In fact, the worst sports organization in the history of sports.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that. Yeah.
It's hard to argue, although the Jets are pretty bad too.
Yeah, but they didn't trade for Deshaun Watson.
They did pick up Ron Rodgers. I'm sure the Browns will do that next.
I would have rather had him than Deshaun.
Oh, yeah. No. He's crazy, but he's not a sort of quote unquote terrible person.
Yeah. Now, this Tucker story will probably get more traction too. Once, I'm sure he'll get suspended, and when he starts to miss games next year, I think then it'll get picked up more because this is the downtime in the NFL right now. I want to see more coverage of this, and I want to see more scrutiny of it. I mean, remember when Robert Kraft was in trouble? Yeah, he's rich. Well, right. It's amazing. It's almost a factory set. Follow the money. You get on these. Right. No, and I mean, to the extent, I don't know if what Justin Tucker did rose to there's no pending criminal charges or grand juries. It's just disgusting. It's gross. Same thing as Watson, although because the criminal charges, they didn't find enough evidence for those. But bottom line, he's a scum. He's a scumbag. Right. And Justin Tucker is a scumbag. Now, if this is what you're doing, then I guess you need to face an 11-game suspension. And you need to have people
booing all your fans who support you, and you need to have the national media come down on you every single day, every single week. I want to hear it. I want to hear this guy get crucified the way, and the organization, if they don't kick him to the curb.
Do you think they will? Do you think they will kick him to the curb?
I think so. He's a kicker. He's dispensable, and he started missing kicks last year because he wasn't getting enough massages.
Yeah, it's more justifiable now what we saw him do last year.
It is, because he wasn't getting the massages. His groin was no good.
Well, you never know.
Any one of us normal people would be in jail and lose our jobs immediately. And factor status, you are bingo. You are 100% correct. And I would love nothing more than to see the downfall of the Baltimore Ratbirds. And you know who's sad? Hey, you know what's funny? Factory of Sadness talks about LeBron and how he can't win. And he sucks. And, he's not the greatest. You know who also sucks and can't win in the clutch? Lamar Jackson. He's too busy pooping at the stadium in halftime, missing games.
I'm okay with that one.
I am too. I definitely am. And Art Modell can keep his ass out of Canton.
That's right.
He can keep his ass out of Canton. And with that, Mike, why don't you tell everybody what has you going nuclear, since I haven't gone nuclear enough.
And then we'll go for round 3 for you.
Oh, yes, I've got more.
Okay. All right. So my nuclear will probably be less nuclear than any of your 3 today. But so I was at my kids' flag football game on Saturday, and I get there early. I set up right in like the 50-yard line, put my seat down. I'm just sitting, and there's another group of dads over here to my right, and they're just chatting, drinking coffee. I'm like, yeah, whatever, no problem. All of a sudden, they see another dad coming from my left, and they converge right in front of me, literally right in front of my seat. I'm like, okay, they're just going to say hi, and then they'll move over. No big deal. Nope, they proceed to stand in that spot for the remainder of the game, from when the game started until the game ended. Now, I obviously did not stay in that spot. I got up and moved around and stuff, and I was just observing to see if they were ever going to look around to see that they had just stood in front of somebody. Like literally the whole sidelines were free and empty. And they stood in front of me. If I would have stayed in that seat for the entire game, I'm like, where is your just sense of self? Come on, that's just rude.
No, it's crazy.
No, just like common sense, guys. Come on.
Well, no self-awareness. You don't care about anybody else but yourself. They're so stupidly caught up in it.
Yep.
And what? He needs to have Taco Bell before the game. Who? I
think Lamar. Back to the Lamar comment.
But no, self-awareness. Like nobody cares, and they don't think, and they don't pay attention, and they're just unaware of things, and it's so rude. God, Mike, you should have you should have had Taco Bell before the game, and you should have had very violent gas and flatulence.
Yep. Next time I'm just going to one-up them. I can take my chair and I'll just go
in front of them. Yeah.
Stand right there. So
exactly. No, I'm all there. Now, how did the game go? It was a playoff.
So both boys had playoff games. Both of them lost. Carter, our 12-year-old, lost on like the last play of the game.
Oh.
They get one more game. They get consolation games next week. We're excited to watch that, but not a good flag football weekend for the Rasinski household. But they had fun.
Well, how did Carter? How did he take
it? He was heartbroken.
Yeah.
So that was tough, but it's character building.
It is, and I think as sports fans, we've had a lot of character building, and that's the beauty of it, and that's why when our teams actually win, we can do it in class.
Yep.
We can be classy about these things. So it's good for him. He'll get over it. It'll be solid. He'll get the switch, it'll be tight.
That's right.
It'll be excellent. Hey, come Father's Day, when we're watching the Cavs win another title, won't remember that flag football game. I'll tell you what.
That's right.
I'll tell you what. All right. Well, my going nuclear is something that is work related and kind of technology related. All right. So everybody's got AI and voice to text. So how often is it that maybe you decide, oh, I'm driving, let me do a voice to text to send a message to somebody. I can't call, but I just want to say whatever. And maybe it doesn't get it right. Okay. So would you say that that's par for the course, but it's no big deal because it's not life or death, right?
Sure.
All right. How would you like it if you called your doctor's office and you wanted to get medical records and come to find out that these buttheads are using like a transcription program to do your reports? And what is in there is nothing that actually is what the doctor said. Like basically, it'll take words that are medical terms and it'll be like other regular words. It's complete nonsense. I'm like,
are you kidding me?
No.
So now you have no actual written record of what your doctor's appointments were actually about.
Pretty much. A lot of doctors, they're using these transcriptions and they're like, there may be errors. Like at the bottom, it's like, there may be. Well, so somebody else goes to read this record and they see this. How are they going to know what actually happened? And if they need to read it in a hurry and you've done your stupid transcription all along, so there might be some chronic condition that's important. And this stupid transcription thing, they've become so stupidly cheap. They went from hiring a person who transcribes it. One of my uncles, he dated someone for a long time who did transcription of doctors, even doctors, who had bad, hard to understand accents, but they got it. The point was to get it right.
The easy thing is you look at somebody just proofreads it. You look at it and go, that's not right. Let me just fix this one word that's wrong. So you can, you could still use that software, but just proofread it before you post it. Somebody needs to
terrible. Oh, it's not even one word. It's terrible. It is awful. And it makes it so much harder for me when I'm trying to figure out what happened to a patient and in the course of my job where it becomes important. But I'd be even more upset if I were a patient.
Oh, yeah.
And knew that my medical records were this screwed up, that the doctor giving some stupid transcription. I'm like, this is crazy. And here it is. It's all about corporate greed. It sure as hell is. It sure as hell is. It's probably like, well, the insurance won't pay me for my time, so I'm going to do this instead, and it's cheaper because I'm going to get back what's mine. I'm going to get all mines. So,
yeah,
technology being used and in certain situations, that has me going nuclear today. So I think I've gotten my blood pressure up, Mike, a little bit tonight.
Hopefully you don't have to go see a doctor about it.
Right. The note will be wrong.
Yeah.
It will be wrong. But yeah, of course, folks, want to thank the Fanatical Elves Network. And again, we are a subsidiary of Fans First Sports Network. Be sure to go check out our podcast. You can find it if you aren't watching this. If you want to go and listen to any of our prior podcasts or anybody else as part of the Fanatical Elves Network or Fans First Sports Network, you can go to their website. You can pull up the podcast. You can go to your favorite podcast platforms, if it be Apple, Spotify, etc., and like and subscribe. Go to our YouTube channel, please. Like, subscribe, follow us. There's a lot of great content. It's not just me yelling about things and Mike wondering, what have I gotten myself into? There is some actual throwing down some actual knowledge here. So yeah, I think that is going to do it for us tonight, but we will be back again. We'll be back next week. I'm sure there'll be some interesting stuff to talk about. The NFL Draft Combine is coming up. We'll have a little bit of spring training to get into. The Cavs will be back in action, and always something, Mike. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. You're not expecting the bad weather up there, are you?
Nope, I think we'll be good. Hopefully, our first full week of school since Christmas break. Well, no, actually, it won't be because we had Monday off. Never mind.
No, we are already closed down here tomorrow. Wow. And they've already sent the email out saying basically like if we have one more snow day Well, so tomorrow is the last one where they won't have to make up time. They get if they have one more than there's 2 days that were half days that'll be turned into full days, and then if they get another one after that, which is likely, I can imagine them being out the rest of the week if we get the amount of snow they're saying, because it's going to be cold enough. It ain't mountain. So that has. What's that?
Good luck to you.
Well, thankfully the kids, they do their own thing. I feel like they're not here at all. Yes, we will be back next week with more full-blown coverage of L's for the land. Yes, thank you, Factory of Sadness. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and commenting. Heather, Factory of Sadness, I love it. Mike, thank you as always. And that is going to do it here tonight. You've been watching Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land.